Guilty Gear Strive, they had their official live stream this week. Gave us a good bit of information with everything they had going on. You know, they showed us the new UI. We got a character reveal. We got a teaser for another character, which we basically everybody knows is Angie. We got the official release dates for the game. You have the deluxe and the ultimate edition, so they gave you the different editions of the games. So, you know, as we're getting closer to this release and everything that y'all are seeing with everything that they're showing, their live stream and all that stuff, like, how are y'all feeling, you know, at this point with the game?
All right, so Guilty Gear has always been a game I thought was like one of the coolest looking fighting games. I think the first one I saw was like Guilty Gear 2 on PS2, and I was like, man, this look dope. I've never been into it hardcore, but I definitely always, played it here and there. Seeing Guilty Gear Strive and it being like the first like technical next gen fighting game that we've seen so far, the game was great. Like, first and foremost, the game looks absolutely great. If this is the future of how we're gonna have fighting games look, I'm all for it. Um, with the stuff they show with the stream, first of all, the new character, she looks absolutely dope. And if I do get Strive, I'm gonna play her because she reminds me of my favorite character from Soul Calibur 5. Zwei, which they didn't bring back because he has like the little wolf companion type thing. I think that's so dope. She also got like a KOL feel to her. I think that's pretty dope. I'm liking the way the UI looks a little different. My only gripe about the UI is the combo counter. Like, can it be any bigger? Like, the number is so huge on the side of the screen. It's like it's could take up half of the screen. It's like I can't see the combo because of the combo counter. That's probably my only thing about the UI that I would change. Other than that, it looks great. Um, I might get it. The Ultimate Edition, it coming out 3 days earlier for people to get that. I think that's pretty dope. If you want to pay that extra to be like, hey, I want to play the game earlier, I want to get on these combos, this tech earlier, I'm gonna put out a little extra money, So I mean, that's more of a personal preference. But I think the game is looking pretty good. I think it's shaping up to be pretty dope right now.
Well, I agree with Devin. Back when I was in high school, I think of my sophomore year, we used to go to wrestling meets all the time. We used to bring a TV and a PlayStation too because you didn't have nothing to do because, you had to wait for your turn to go up and play in a big tournament. And one of the games we used to play was Guilty Gear X2 on the PlayStation 2. And I think I saw it on a blister a while before that on G4. And me and my brothers were completely infatuated with that game. Our parents wouldn't drive us to GameStop, so we had to make the trek ourselves to go get the game. It was like a pilgrimage, but we got it, man. And that was like the only game we played for about a month. It was fantastic. And so we've been continuing this continuous love affair with Guilty Gear for like the past like 10, 15 years. And I mean, we're still like in our honeymoon phase. So yeah, we just love it. But as far as Guilty Gear Strive, like we're all waiting for it. I think it looks fantastic. My only gripes with Guilty Gear Strive at this point are, number one, I don't like the way the online lobby looks. I played the beta, and when me and one of my buddies, Chris, aka Antique Legend, shout out to Antique Legend, we were trying to play each other in the online lobby, and I know it's just the beta, but we would try to go into the same room, and we would always be in different instances of the exact same room. So we would spend like an hour to 2 hours just trying to get into the same instance of the same room. And even after that, we gotta walk around with our weapons out. So then it was like, all right, now we gotta try to fight each other. And then some like Joe Schmo from Montana all of a sudden zips in, and now I'm fighting him instead of my friend, the friend that I spent like 2 hours trying to play with. I mean, it was a little frustrating. And then of course, the random disconnect. So even at that point when you guys like cross swords, you're ready to go, it was like, all right, like Potemkin versus Chip. Oh, never mind. Disconnect. You're back at the main menu. Start it all over again. But I mean, if they fix that, it won't be so horrible. And I don't even mind like running into people, like random people fighting them, because that's not really a huge deal. It's only a huge deal if you still have the problem of trying to connect to the same instance as your friend. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to play this guy. But if you had to wait 3 hours to fight your friend, you're going to be mad. I was mad. So, I mean, but other than that, I think the only other issue I would have is there are characters that we in the base roster that aren't from Guilty Gear Xrd that I feel like characters like Raven, who I think should have come back immediately instead of like
Oh yeah.
they're making us wait for him in the DLC pack. I think like this is just my opinion. I would rather wait another 1 to 2 years for a game to come out than like have them piecemeal me the entire roster over time. I just want all the characters at the same time instead of being like, well, I guess I gotta wait to start having fun, and it's only gonna be like what, like a year later until I'm like, okay, this is the character I want to play as. I love Chip, but give me Raven, or even better, give me Zappa back, please. So that is my take on Guilty Gear Strive.
Okay, so to echo Devin, this seriously is like, it's such a cool looking game. Like, I really have to say, it looks friggin' good. And yes, if this is like the future of fighting games, like, sign me up. Like,
Yep.
it's got great aesthetic. It's got, I mean, and Guilty Gear, to what Evan said, like, it's always been like so cool. Like, you might not like the aesthetic, but you have to respect that it like has an aesthetic that's so iconic and so like unique, and like from the music to the art style to now the UI and all of this stuff, right? So to kind of echo those points, like, yeah, I'm really excited. Personally, I've never had a problem with the UI. Like, I think a lot of people, and you know, let me preface this by saying, like, I'm still pretty new school to fighting games. I'm still pretty young to the genre, but coming from like League of Legends and coming from like a lot of other genres of video games, like coming into this, I'm looking at the and coming from like a design perspective, I'm like, sweet, it's simple. Like, I can see everything that's happening. It's going for like this minimalistic look. I love it. It's great. I think it's very classy. I think it's very elegant, but also still like gritty in that way that Guilty Gear kind of is as a game. As far as like online lobbies and random disconnects, this is where I think I'm hopeful for the lobbies. Like, that it really does suck, because like last night I was in a Grand Blue lobby and I got booted, and like only to find out this is like netcode stuff. But it's like, I'm hopeful because I know that they're working on GPO. I'm hopeful because like all other ArcSys like games, I've loved their lobbies. I wish every lobby had that sort of like avatar kind of lobby, because it's just honestly, it's great for TOs. Because it's great to be like, hey, like, everyone just hop into a cab in this room that I've already got, you know? And I think that can be a real pain if it's like a Street Fighter lobby where it's like, okay, rotate through, okay, let me send you an invite, okay, like, now you gotta leave, now you gotta come back, now you gotta, you know, that's a lot of organizing for a TO. So actually, it's actually really good for like online TOing in that regard. And then, but so I'm hopeful for GGPO stuff. And then like, as for the roster thing, like, I can kind of agree with that, like in the sense of, so in SF, I'm playing Minot now. I couldn't imagine hopping onto SF when Minot wasn't there yet, and then essentially like sleeping on the game until season 3 came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this character a lot. Like, that's a really, I can imagine the frustration. That said, Zato's already in Stripes, so sorry about that. And I will say, Giovanna looks amazing. Like, she gives me mad Blue Mary vibes. I think I'm personally really excited about her. I think she looks really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, like, this weekend when I saw all of that stuff, I was like, the exhibition matches looked great. I was like, oh, like, it's slower, but I still think that it feels like Guilty Gear, but still, I don't know. I'm just very pleased. I think it looks great. I'm super pumped. So